Hello chess friends, I hope you're doing well. Today I'll be presenting some incredible chess games from my career, including a game where I sacrificed my queen against Torch. You can see these tournament games between me and Torch where I win more than 70% of games. When we do the best we can, we never know what miracle is wrought in our life or the life of another, so let's go. I started the game with e4, we have c6 Caro can defense and we have causal lines of Caro can, knight c3 and here Torch could take the pawn but he chooses to play Gurjanide's defense. If you are playing against Stockfish then you should immediately resign the game before starting the game, that way your ego can live happily but Torch doesn't played a good opening. He is an arrogant chess engine like Hikaru and Levy bot, he played f6, maybe he wants to re-rotate his knight to control these squares and e6 will be a good choice. Rook e1 knight to f7 and I played a4 with the idea of a5 to restricting queen structure and you know what, never compare your life with others, you have no idea what their journey is all about, so Torch played rook e8 a5 e6 bishop, back to f1 and after some moves later. Here Torch played bishop d7 with the idea of playing d6 or b5 so I strikes in the center with e5. Bishop f4 queen d2 and knight a4 to go to the c5 square is my future ideas, we have center exchanges on e5 and he played b6 with the idea of c5. Make peace with your past so it wouldn't screw up the present, so I make peace by closing the position, he tries to open up the b file with c5, what a dumb looking move, the Torch chess engine is nothing to me, if I go to the bathroom at night when there is no electricity in my house then I need Torch. That's Torch's job, not his job to play chess with the chess god Stockfish. Anyway Torch wants to light up his structure by playing c4, so we have rook b1 and he closed the structure with c4. That's against but a 200 elo pawn chain, we have h4 and b5, bishop f4 is coming so he played b5 himself, g3 queen c7 to target this pawn with 1 2 3 pieces, we have bishop f4 queen c8 to target this pawn. Rook a1 and I want to play bishop h3 queen d2, knight d4 then rook a5, activating the bishop on this diagonal and targeting to this pawn with 2 pieces, knight takes pawn may come to seize this diagonal, okay we have rook b8 rook to a3 rook b6, queen a1 and bishop e3 is coming to attack on this diagonal. Bishop c6 bishop e3 to target this rook, if you move back your rook then I will capture this pawn. So we have d4 to target this knight, I take the pawn, takes bishop takes rook, I exchange my 2 pieces for a rook, pawn takes and I get a clear pass pawn. Be selfish with your time, a lot of people don't deserve it, so after knight e4 he takes the pawn on e5, here any normal person would safe the queen first, for example queen a2 then after takes, the position will be equal and the game will be a draw, but in our actual game, I played rook takes f3, sacrificing the queen like nobody can do. He takes the queen, rook takes bishop and I have the rook for a queen only, this is a pass pawn and the bishop will stand there to support him, rook to e8 bishop g2, knight e5 rook to a3 with the idea of a7 and I want to re-rotate my knight like this, to activate my bishop, we have knight c6 a7 queen to a8, try to stop this pawn with 2 pieces, so knight c3 and this is coming. How do you stop me? I down a queen and you can't stop my 1 pass pawn, maybe because you didn't subscribe to my YouTube channel. Why didn't you subscribe to my YouTube channel? Just subscribe it, we have h6 knight takes pawn and knight c7 is coming to target the queen, here if you play rook d7, try to protect that square then I will capture the knight, queen takes bishop and then I will promote my queen, so back to the position. If you play 69 elo move like the Gotham chess 69 elo, then I will move back my knight to push the b pawn to target it with bishop, so if b5 to stop my pawn then I will play rook a6 to target this knight, knight c8 may come but after rook takes c6. The rook is crazy enough to create so many problems for you, so after takes, I will promote into a queen and I will totally win the game. You may suffer after losing a chess game, because the root of all suffering is attachments, so back to the position, we have knight takes a7, giving up the queen, I gave up my queen long time ago he accepted that, but now I am completely winning the game. If you are a giver, remember to learn your limits because the takers don't have any. Let's move on to our next game. In this game I sacrificed my rook and the game was completely aggressive, so let's get into the game. Master started with d4, we have e6 and e4, after playing the d5, the game turned into French defense. Here you have variety of moves, such as advance variation Tarish and exchange variation. He chooses to play Tarish variation, so c5. Open French defense, knight here and I take the pawn. He didn't take the d4 pawn, instead that, he played e takes d5, ? Why he played e takes d5? Because he want to develop his pieces first with the knight, queen d6, castle, and you can't protect the d-pawn, it's not in your hand, so knight f6, knight c3, knight c6, and we have first pieces exchanges in the center, queen c7, queen e2, a6, knight f3, and I played bishop d6, getting the diagonal with queen bishop, battery to attack in the future. He played bishop g5 to target my knight. That's a completely idiotic move. I wouldn't save the knight with bishop and put my bishop on this nonsense diagonal. Instead, I thought to myself, if I castle on the short side, I won't be able to attack him on the king side. That's why I played an interesting move h6, giving white to my knight and making him a double pawn. For that reason I get the file to access my rook and the bishop creativity on this diagonal. In the long run I can double up my rooks on the g file. Okay, we have rook d1, bishop d7, rook e1, bishop e7, knight d4, look at the white pieces, they are targeting to my e6 pawn. If you play any normal move, for example b5, then he will sacrifice his knight, and after doing big exchanges on e6 square, white will target to my pawn, but that's not a big problem. Big problem is that he will completely seize my ed diagonals and my king will totally exposed, so in this position I castle in long side, bishop d5 by him, ? Can you take the bishop? No, because the queen will arrive on there to target black weak pawns and the file will be completely open, so bishop b4 with an extra move, c3 counter-attack, so bishop returns on d6 to target the d5 bishop, bishop f3, and I win up h2 pawn, with an extra move, bishop e5, showing middle finger to Master, bishop h5, bishop e8, knight f3 to offering rook exchange, so I block it with bishop d6, queen e4, he is threatening to play rook d4 to move the rook like this to pressure my position. Another idea is to target the f6 pawn with queen h4, so bishop c6, queen h4, f5, the pawn is well protected by the queen. Master played knight d4 to target the bishop, because the bishop is one of the pieces that is causing serious problems for white, so I saved the bishop with bishop e7. It is very important to learn what you should keep safe and you will be able to trade without any problem. In this position, look at the pieces. My bishop pair is targeting to the king side. If there were no pawns it would be a serious problem for white. Plan B for this situation is to create a rook battery in the g file. Plan C is to push the pawns sincerely with no fear. He played directly queen f6 to target the pawn with bishop, so rook f8, queen d4 to target the bishop, so bishop f4, now I am threatening to play e5 then e4, to target the knight, if knight h4 then move the queen to e4 to target the knight. Where bishop and rook is line up on g2 square, it will be a very bad situation after playing e3 with a pawn threat, so queen a7, rook want to go to the d4 and queen may give a check, so queen e7, now I am threatening to take the pawn, after takes queen g5 check will win up the bishop and the f3 knight will be fall after two moves. Here if you play rook g1, try to protect the pawn, then bishop will take the knight, no matter what you will play you will lose the game by getting a check on h4. So in this position we have king g1, bishop e8, queen d4, and I sacrificed my rook on g2, that's a brilliant move. And chess friends, if you want to make brilliant sacrifices like me then you can like and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you will get brilliant contents from me. We have king takes g2, queen g5 check, king h3, queen takes check, and the king can't retreat because the bishop and queen line up on there, so knight h4, bishop c7. My tactic is to play rook d8 to get the file to target the rook with two pieces after escaping the queen on b4, so he played queen b4 first, rook e8, rook g1, you might think, the white king is exposed, so play attacking moves to target the knight, and make the rook moves to pressure the king with the white bishop, but you should learn from me, where to attack, How to attack and what will be the outcome of my attacks. The knight and the H rank is well protected by the queen. The rooks is doing very good job, so it's not the right time to attack, so it's time to make another tactics with another pieces. How to make another tactics with another pieces. And why should you make another tactics and strategies? Because, white can't able to stop another piece's involvements, his all pieces are busy to protect the king, because the king is exposed, make clear pass pawns, that's the right time. He tried to do something with the queen move but I played f4, locking the rank to attack the knight with bishop and queen, so rook g4 and you cannot play bishop d7 to target the rook, therefore he will sacrifice his rook to expose your king and target the king with the rook and queen. So I continue the tactic with e4 and look at my pawns, they are getting closer to their destiny, e3 is coming, and bishop f3 will from your rooks, f5 is a threat. Master played a4 so I played e3, if you take the pawn, let me show you the variation, rook check will come so king backs, queen takes rook and you will lose the rook, so in this position we have queen e2, f5 to target the rook. If you move back your rook to g1 then you will lose your queen on e2, so back to the position, we have f3, pawn takes, queen e5 and I make my pass pawns, they are coming with the bishop and rook support. We have knight f3, queen here knight d4 to target the bishop, so f3, if you move back your queen then the two connected passed pawns will destroy your position, and don't forget that the queen and bishop is line up on there to check the king, black bishop is also there to target the king. Rook can come like this to attack the king, so he decided to take the pawn on f3, takes, bishop takes f3, and I am totally winning here. How can he stop the pass pawn and the checkmate? It's impossible. Okay, let's jump into our next game. In this game I played against Gotham Chess, who is the #1 chess YouTuber and a chess streamer, but can he defeat me? Above that, I sacrificed my queen for a knight against him, so let's go. I started with e4, Gotham played c5, knight f3 and he chooses to play e6 which is called French variation of Sicilian defense. Sicilian defense is a very tricky opening, knight c3 and levy played a6, this a6 and e6 pawn wants to strike in the center with b5 and d5, so I strike the center with d4 first, pawn takes d5 knight to c6 and I played a3 to protect that square from any incoming attacks. Levy played queen b6 to target the knight and add pressure to this pawn but it's not the right move, best was to play queen c7, queen b6 is wrong because of bishop e3. It's x-ring to the queen and if you dare to take the pawn on b2, let me show you the variation, then knight a4 will kill your queen, the queen have no square to run, that means that you will lose the queen and the game, so back to the position. Levy considered to play bishop c5 to block the bishop attack but there is savage move knight a4, chess is very sweet, look at this tasty desert, we have queen a5 check, b4, whether you can save the queen or the bishop. So he has to play queen takes knight, pawn takes, queen a5 check queen blocks queen takes c5, that's a idiotic move like his idiotic intelligence, best was to take the queen because after knight b5, its targets to the queen and the knight is supported so queen e5 to protect the square from the knight, that's why I played knight d6 check, king here c3, to block the diagonal, Gotham played b5, you no need to develop your queen side. You need to develop your king side for the king's safety and use the rook, bishop e2 and f4 is coming so we have queen f6, castle and here best move is to play h4, develop your pawn structure and active your pieces, but he thinks he is smarter than Stockfish. He played knight a5 with an idea to fork the queen and rook, that's a childlike move. I am not a big YouTuber like him but at least I have IQ, bishop c5 with an idea of 10,000 elo performance tactics. He played knight b5 to fork my queen, rook and bishop, you know, I will win the game with clear-cut vision but, that will not be interesting, so I played rook d1 to sacrifice the queen away. First let me show you the top engine lines, here best move is to play queen e3. Sacrificing the rook to levy rozman as he says. The Rook! Then knight takes c8 discover check. King e8 knight d6 check king here e5 queen here queen f3 rook here knight takes check king c8 bishop d6, and that's it, game will be over for Gotham chess. If you try to save the rook, for example rook b6, then the killer move will come queen a8 check, it will be checkmate and the game will be over. So back to the position. In this position, if you say, what about knight takes bishop, then queen takes c5 will come. g6 to create breathing room for the king. Knight takes check, king here, knight back to d6 and count the pieces. I have an extra bishop and the game would be in my flavor, but that would be not interesting. So in this position I decided to play rook d1 to give him my queen away. Now he get a chance to make this game draw. Levy takes the queen, knight takes e8 check to the king, so he blocks it with d6 and he free up some space. The d6 pawn can't be taken by any of your pieces because after bishop takes d6, king here e5 queen f4. To protect the knight, knight b6 knight e4 knight takes rook queen takes, king here queen takes bishop and that's it. He will win the game completely, and my pieces are worthless, they will not able to make a single threat to the king. So back to the position. If he is a smart guy in chess, then I am super ultra legendary ultimate max genius brilliant guy in chess. I played e5, he can't take this pawn because it's pinned, and also, he can't take the bishop because of this. And the knight is also under attack, so he played queen f4, pawn takes d6 and d7 is coming with a discover check, which will be a checkmate after couple of moves. So he played king e8 remembering my name, bishop e3 queen e5 rook, takes d2 and my pieces are well protected and I am going to win the game. Don't believe in the analysis bar because analysis bar is for genius type of computers and robots, not for the dumb and donkey brain human species. So knight f6 bishop to d4 queen f5 knight e7 to target the queen, queen f4 bishop e3, my position is now better, because of this knight, dark square bishop move and the queen move makes my position clear and advanced. What about Levy Rozman's position? His position is about the same as it was 3 moves ago, queen e5 bishop f3 to get access to the diagonal and the VIP diagonal. Here he played queen takes c3 to target the rook, rook d1 rook d8 knight goes to c6, this targets to the rook and you know what is the best move here? Here best move is to play king d7, sacrificing the rook away, but we will play bishop d4 first to remove the queen position, then black would play queen takes c6 which is the best move, bishop takes king takes. Rook check here rook c7 check, and after some moves later we will get this position where white will get little advantages, but in this position, he played rook d7, try to save the rook, it's a mistake move because after rook d3 queen c2, knight b4, the diagonal gets clear and this targets to the queen, position will be dead lost, count your remaining days, queen a4 bishop c6, my pieces combination is totally good and pure, the queen is a liability for black. Okay, we have rook f8 rook c1 and my tactic is to play bishop b6 to occupy the diagonal, after takes, king takes d7 rook check king backs, and the position will be plus 11, maybe it will be a checkmate, so we have knight d5, knight takes bishop to b6, queen e4 and bishop takes d5, if you dare to take the rook, queen takes d3 then rook will come to check you. Blocks and after rook takes rook it will be checkmated. So back to the position we have rook takes pawn, bishop takes e4, rook takes rook to c7 a5 bishop f5, there is a tactics to kick the king into mud, so rook blocks on e6 bishop takes rook to d7 and it will be checkmate in few moves because the rook can't help. Okay, let's dive into our final game. In this game we have Alphazero as black pieces and it is a bullet chess game with Stockfish and Alphazero. Can Alphazero defeat Stockfish? Let's see. I started with e4, Alpha played Sicilian defense, he have knight f6 d6, and he can play Grunfeld line, knight f3 knight f6 and I played e5 knight to d5 knight c3, if you take the knight then after pawn takes it will open up my queen's line, and the bishop line with an extra move. So e6 by Alpha, knight e4 and Alpha strikes it with f5, you may say, Alpha makes his kingside weak, but there is a good strategy, to use the f-file in long term, so knight f3 to offering knight exchange again. Alpha accepted knight exchange offer, d takes c3, bishop d7, bishop goes to f4, This bishop move plan is to move the pawn sincerely to the h-file to create some attacking chances to the black king side. OK, d6 pawn to h4, bishop b7, and we have queen up to d3. This bishop and queen targets to the pawn on h4, so take the knight to unguard the pawn, but there will be no benefit on there. Let me show you the variation. After takes, queen takes bishop, the queen threatening to the rook, so knight c6. We will play castle here, and if you dare to take the free pawn, then bishop b6 will make the knight a liability for you. There will be lot of pressure, so rook c8, queen to h5 check, which is a killer move with killer attitude. You will lose the bishop and the game, so back to the position. Here Alpha played knight to a6. His plan is to re-rotate the knight to get active is the center, where the knight potential power will be 100%, so I played castle knight, c7 c4, savage move, to end the night dreams. Bishop c6, his new idea is to push the pawn rook b8 then b5 to open the queen side and attack to the king by opening up the files. Knight d2 by me, castle bishop e2, my plan is to play bishop here to eliminate the bishop, then push the h-pawn to create pressure on h-pawn structure. Rook b8, bishop f3, if you take the bishop, let me show you the variation. Then knight takes bishop, b5 takes, knight takes, queen takes d7, queen b6, black will sacrifice his bishop, but he have a nice tactics here, queen g5. My queen will be restricted, knight d4 will come, threatening to play queen takes b2 check. Here best move is to take the knight and play as it is. Game will be a draw. If you say, oh Stockfish, let me play b3, it will hold the position. No fool, it will damage your structure. h6, queen g6, then knight e2 check, king b2, knight takes bishop, black will regain his bishop, knight e2, queen h3, and the savage move will come. c4, queen a5 is coming, your bodyguard will be confused and weak, position will be worse for you. So back to the position, we have queen e8 a3, rook to d8, his idea is to break the structure with d6, and open the d-file for the rook, so I played h5, h6, he blocks the attack, rook h3. Rook a3 is a brilliant move, to pressure black in g-file like this. Center position is totally closed, so rook can't be attacked by any bishops. Further tactics is to take the pawn and trap the king. We have bishop takes f3, knight takes f3, knight a6, rook g1, king to h8. I strike the king side with g5. My plan is to open up the g-file. After takes we have rook takes g4 and bishop takes a6 is coming. Let me show you the variation. If black plays any normal move, for example d6, to open up the file and create a discover attack to the queen, then bishop takes h6 will come, takes, rook g6, threatening to play this. If you take it simply and play pawn takes d5, then rook takes h6 will come, king here, queen to h7 will be checkmate, so black will play rook f5, to block the queen diagonal. Rook takes h6, king to g7, rook takes e6, the rook gets unguarded, and here best move for black is to play rook g5, rook g5, queen e3, queen f8, knight takes rook, bishop takes, and after some moves later, game will be in white's favor. Black will lose his queen and the game, so back to the position, we have rook to f8, to protect the 7th rank, we will see queen e4, rook is coming to attack the pawn with full power, knight b8, rook to g4, knight c6, bishop e3, a6, b5 is coming to strike in the structure, so a4, rook c8, c3 to protect these squares from the knight. Here Alphazero sacrificed his rook, he loves to sacrifice his pieces, no doubt, and lose the game. Rook takes f3, queen takes h5. Black removes all the pressure in kingside by sacrificing his rook. I played rook g1, inaccuracy move, it is a blitz game, that's why I made a mistake. Best was to play rook g3 to add pressure on this pawn, but I played rook g1 instead of playing rook g3, bishop f8, rook g3, and chess friends. If you want more Alphazero videos, then you can like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Rook g3, knight e7, queen goes to b7, to create troubles all the black pieces and army. We have queen e8 to hold it. Rook d1, knight c6, and after some more moves later, I decided to exchange the queens on this position. wish you all the best. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more. Bye bye, take care, see you soon.